The gravel crunched like breaking bones under the stranger's boots as he stumbled from the shadows, rain lashing his face like a confession he couldn't outrun. "Please," he gasped, slamming a fist on James's trailer door, his voice raw over the storm's howl. "My truck's dying. I'll pay anything." James, bleary-eyed and shirtless in the chill Montana night, yanked open the door, his single-dad instincts kicking in before his brain caught up. This guy, soaked and desperate, eyes like shattered glass, wasn't just some lost traveler. He was trouble wrapped in a plea. James Harper had seen his share of strays on the edge of Billings, where the high plains met the endless sky, and the Badlands whispered secrets to anyone dumb enough to listen. 38, with calloused hands from wrenching engines at the local garage and a teenage son who asked too many questions about absent mothers, James knew better than to play hero after midnight. But something in the stranger's voice, cracked, urgent, laced with a fear that mirrored his own buried regrets, pulled him out into the downpour. "Get in," James muttered, grabbing his keys from the hook by the door. His son, Eli, stirred in the next room, a soft mumble of "Dad?" that James ignored as he shrugged on a rain jacket. No time for explanations. Not yet. The truck was a beast of a Ford F-150, hunkered down in the mud like a wounded animal. His hood popped, an engine hissing steam into the night. The stranger, Ryan, he introduced himself with a handshake that lingered a beat too long, hovered like a ghost, flashlight beam jittering across the wires. "She's been acting up since Wyoming," Ryan said, wiping rain from his brow, his dark hair plastered flat, revealing a scar that snaked from temple to jaw. Mid-30s, built like he could bench press regret, with green eyes that caught the lightning flashes and held them. James knelt in the muck, toolbox clanging open, his mind racing through diagnostics. Fuel line? Alternator? Or just the kind of bad luck that followed men like this one? As thunder rolled like an accusation, James worked fast, his fingers slick but sure. Ryan paced, muttering about a job gone south in Casper, a delivery that turned sideways. "People I owe," he said vaguely, avoiding James's gaze. The air between them thickened, not just with rain but with that electric pull, the kind James hadn't felt since his ex, Tommy, walked out 5 years back, leaving him with Eli and a heart full of what-ifs. Ryan's laugh, when it came, was bitter, self-deprecating. "Figures I'd break down at the one guy's door who looks like he could fix more than my ride." James shot him a look, half smirk, half warning. Flattery won't turn the wrench. But coffee might. By the time the engine roared back to life, the storm had eased to a drizzle, the world smelling of wet earth and ozone. Ryan slid into the cab beside James for the test drive, their shoulders brushing in the tight space, heat radiating like a shared secret. "You saved my ass tonight," Ryan said, voice low as they idled on the empty county road. James shrugged, eyes on the rear view, where his trailer lights faded like a memory. "Just neighborly. But if you're running from something, best not bring it back here." Ryan's hand ghosted over James's knee. "Accidental? Intentional?" Before pulling away. "Too late for that," he murmured, and in that moment, under the dash glow, James saw the truth. This wasn't just a fix, it was a fracture waiting to widen. Dawn crept in like a thief, painting the sky bruised purple over the Bighorn foothills. James was up before the coffee, Eli still snoring in his room, dreaming of Little League glory. The single-wide trailer felt smaller in the morning light, walls papered with Eli's drawings and faded photos of a younger James, arm slung around Tommy at some pride parade in Seattle, smiles wide before the cracks showed. James poured his mug black, strong as regret, and stepped onto the porch, boots scuffing the warped boards. That's when he heard it, the low growl of engines, multiplying like wolves on the prowl. 3 black SUVs, tinted windows gleaming like obsidian, fanned out across his driveway, blocking the rutted path to the highway. No plates he could see, just the hulking menace of them, idling with a menace that vibrated through his chest. James froze, mug halfway to his lips, steam curling like a warning, heart slamming against his ribs. He scanned the tree line, nothing but dew-kissed pines and the faint bleat of a distant coyote. Then a door chunked open on the lead vehicle, and a figure emerged, tall, suited, face hidden in shadow. James Harper? The man called, voice flat as prairie wind, hand resting casual on his hip where a holster bulged. James's mind flashed to Ryan, the scar, the evasion, the touch that lingered. Who the hell's asking? He shot back, stepping forward, body coiled like a spring. Eli's voice cracked from inside. Dad? What's going on? Panic clawed up James's throat. He couldn't let this touch his boy. Not after everything. The suited man smirked, gesturing to the others. We're looking for a friend of yours. Ryan Cole. Tell us where he is, and we leave quiet. James's blood turned to ice. Friend? Hell, they'd barely traded names. But the lie formed quick, protective. Never heard of him. The man chuckled, low and ugly. Wrong answer. Grease monkey. We know he stopped here last night. Fixed his truck. Right? Sentimental of you. They moved then. Boots crunching gravel, closing the circle like a noose. James backed toward the door. Mind screaming options. Shotgun in the hall closet? Call the sheriff? But Eli burst out, eyes wild, baseball bat gripped white-knuckled from last night's storm prep. Get away from my house, the kid yelled, voice breaking on the edge of manhood. James shoved him behind, arm barring the way. Inside. Now. But the lead suit was faster, hand snapping out to grab Eli's collar. James lunged, fist connecting with jaw in a crack that echoed like thunder's echo. Chaos erupted, shouts, scuffle, the acrid tang of adrenaline. James took a boot to the ribs, air exploding from his lungs, but he fought dirty, elbow to throat, knee to groin, until the suits dragged him down, zip ties biting wrists. Eli swung wild, bat glancing off a shoulder, before they wrestled it away. You touch him, you die, James snarled, tasting blood, vision blurring on his son's terrified face. The leader knelt, breath hot on James's ear. Ryan's got something of ours. A flash drive. Names, routes, enough to bury us all. He thinks he can run, cute. But you're his soft spot now. He nodded to the trailer. We'll wait. He comes back. Or we start breaking things. Hours blurred into a siege. The suits ransacked the place. Drawers yanked, couch slashed. While James sat bound on the porch, Eli huddled close, whispering fierce promises. It's gonna be okay, kid. Dad's got you. But inside, doubt gnawed. Who was Ryan? Really? A drifter with a silver tongue? Or a ghost with ghosts? As noon baked the tin roof, James's phone buzzed in his pocket. Missed calls from the garage. Then a text from an unknown. I'm sorry. Coming back. Don't hate me. Our sun dipped low, painting the Badlands bloody, when the horizon shimmered with dust. Ryan's truck crested the rise, headlights cutting the dusk like a blade. James's heart twisted, relief, rage, something deeper, forbidden. The suits perked, weapons drawn casual. Ryan pulled up slow, engine cutting with a whine, door swinging open. He stepped out, hands raised, a slim black drive in his fist like a talisman. "Here," he called, voice steady but eyes locking on James. Apology raw. "Take it and go. Leave them out of this." The leader laughed, snatching the drive, but his eyes narrowed. "Too easy, Cole. You think we're done?" A shot cracked, warning, into the dirt, and Ryan flinched, gaze never leaving James. In that suspended breath, James saw it, the truth in Ryan's eyes, not just fear, but a hunger, a pull that mirrored his own lonely nights. Betrayal hung heavy, but so did the spark. As the suits bundled Ryan toward the SUV, he twisted, shouting over his shoulder, "I didn't mean James." "Wait!" But the doors slammed, engines roared, and they peeled out, leaving dust devils and silence. James untied his own bonds with teeth and fury, pulling Eli into a crush of arms. "It's over," he lied, voice thick. But as stars pricked the sky, he knew it wasn't. Ryan had crashed into his world like a meteor, and the crater, it was just beginning to burn. Eli's questions came like buckshot that night, peppering the dim kitchen as James nursed a bruised jaw with frozen peas and black coffee. Who were those guys? Dad? And that Ryan dude? Why'd he come back? The boy, all gangly limbs and earnest brown eyes inherited from some anonymous donor James had loved too briefly, paced the linoleum like a caged wolf pup. James leaned against the counter, flannel unbuttoned over a chest etched with faded tattoos, anchors from his Navy days, a rainbow flag inked hasty after coming out at 25. Bad men. Eli. The kind who chase shadows. He ruffled his son's hair, dodging the deeper cut. And Ryan? He's the shadow that stuck. Sleep evaded James like a guilty conscience. He tossed on the sagging couch, Eli barricaded in his room with the bat under the pillow, the trailer's walls groaning under wind's sigh. Memories looped. Ryan's hand on his knee, the scar's white line against tan skin, the way his laugh cut through the rain like sunlight. James had always played it straight in Billings. Small-town queer, raising a kid solo, dates rare and discreet in Bozeman bars. But Ryan, he was wildfire, threatening to consume the careful ashes James had built his life on. By morning, resolve hardened like cooling metal. James dropped Eli at school with a fierce hug. "Text me every hour." "Got it," and hit the garage, where old man Hargrove squinted over the logbook. "Heard sirens last night, Harper." "You in some shit," James grunted, diving under a Chevy's hood, the familiar stink of oil grounding him. "Just ghosts, boss." But his phone stayed glued to his hip, waiting for a phantom buzz. Mid-afternoon, it came. A burner number, message Stark, "Meet me. Old Mill off 87. Midnight. Please." The mill loomed on the Yellowstone's bend, a skeleton of rust and forgotten timber, moon silvering the river like spilled mercury. James parked his pickup a quarter-mile out, flashlight beam slicing fog as he hiked the overgrown path. Heart thudding a war drum, he rounded the corner, and there was Ryan, silhouetted against crumbling brick, a lantern's glow haloing his frame. Bruised, yes, lips split, cheek swelling, but alive, eyes fierce as he crushed out a cigarette. "You came," Ryan breathed, stepping forward, then halting like a man burned. James's fists clenched. Betrayal a live wire. Damn right I did. After you dragged that circus to my door? My kid. Ryan, Eli could have been. Words choked, rage cracking into hurt. Ryan winced, rubbing his scar. The one he finally confessed came from a bar fight in LA. Back when he was young and stupid, chasing dreams in a city that chewed them up. I know. God. James. I know. That drive? This cartel shit, ledgers from a run I did for my brother. Thought I could flip it, get out clean. But they track everything. You were just collateral. A good man who fixed more than my truck. They circled each other in the lantern light, tension coiling like smoke. James wanted to deck him, walk away, bolt the door on this chaos. But Ryan's gaze held him, vulnerable, stripped, green depths swirling with the same loneliness James saw in his own mirror. Why me? James demanded, voice rough. Ryan closed the gap, breath mingling. Because when you looked at me last night, it wasn't pity. It was seeing. His hand lifted, hesitant, tracing James's jaw where the bruise bloomed purple. James caught his wrist, pulse jumping under his thumb. Don't, he warned, but didn't pull away. The air hummed, charged, and then Ryan kissed him. Fierce, desperate, tasting of salt and smoke. James broke it first, gasping, foreheads pressed. This is insane. You're insane. Ryan's laugh was ragged. Welcome to my world, Harper. But I meant it. I didn't plan on you. On this. He gestured between them, vague, hopeful. They talked then, words tumbling like the river below. Ryan's fractured family, a brother deep in the game, the escape that soured. James's quiet life, the ache of raising Eli alone after Tommy bailed for easier shores. Dawn crept as they leaned against the mill wall, shoulders touching, stories weaving a fragile bridge. But bridges burn. 2 days later, Ryan holed up in a motel on the outskirts. James sneaking visits under cover of dusk. Stolen hours tangled in cheap sheets. Bodies mapping hurts and hungers long denied. Ryan's touch was reverent. Hands calloused from warehouse gigs. Tracing James's ink like scripture. Beautiful, he'd murmur against collarbone. And James would arch, whispering back prayers in the dark. Eli noticed the glow, the distracted smiles. You seeing someone, Dad? He'd ask over meatloaf, I sharp. James deflected with jokes, but guilt gnawed. This bliss was borrowed, built on lies. The betrayal cracked open on a Tuesday, rain sheeting the garage windows. Ryan burst in, wild-eyed, dripping. We gotta go. Now. James wiped grease from his hands. Alarm spiking. What? Ryan shoved a duffel at him. Cash stacks. Fake IDs. Eli's school photo tucked in a side pocket like a talisman. They're closing in. Brother ratted, said I'd stashed more than the drive. Feds too. Now. It's a cluster. James's world tilted. Eli, packed. At the house. Trust me. But trust fractured when they pulled up. Eli gone. A note scrawled on the fridge. Dad. Some guy said emergency. Baseball practice? Call me. Love. E. Horror iced James's veins. Ryan paled. No. I didn't. But James was out the door. Phone dialing frantic. Voicemail beeps mocking. Minutes stretched eternal until Eli's voice crackled through. Dad? Coach picked me up early, tournament scout. Relief crashed, but suspicion lingered. Who told you to go? Eli puzzled. That guy waiting said you sent him. Tall, green eyes. Ryan swore, bolting for the truck. It's a setup. Lure you out. Tires screamed as they raced to the field, hearts in throats. The diamond was empty, floodlights harsh on bleachers, until shadows detached. Two goons, Eli slung between them like a rag doll, bat discarded. Drop the kid, Ryan yelled, voice steel. But the leader, the same suit from the siege, grinned, gun kissing Eli's temple. Family reunion. Cole, your brother's chatty. Said Harper, here's your Achilles. James lunged, primal, but Ryan held him back, whispering fierce, wait. I've got to play. The standoff stretched, rain turning to sleet, world narrowing to Eli's wide eyes, pleading. Ryan edged forward, hands up, voice steady, let the boy go. Take me. It's me you want. The suit laughed. Nah. Leverage. But Ryan moved snake quick, feinting left, tackling right, gun skittered, shots wild into the night. James scooped Eli, running for cover behind the dugout, boy's sobs muffled in his jacket. Chaos reigned, grunts, fists, Ryan taking hits but giving worse, his scar splitting fresh red. Sirens wailed distant, someone's 911, and the goons scattered, piling into a sedan that fishtailed mud. Ryan staggered up, bloodied but unbowed, collapsing beside them. Safe, he gasped, hand finding James's. Eli stared, piecing it. You saved me? Ryan nodded, wincing. James pulled him close, kiss salt stung, gratitude fierce. But as blue lights flashed, Ryan pulled away. Can't stay. Feds'll clean this, but my name's poison. James's grip tightened. Then we run. Together. Ryan's eyes shone, torn. You, Eli, that's your life. I'm the storm. Dawn broke gray as they parted at the mill again, Ryan's truck idling like a reluctant heartbeat. Eli hugged him awkward. Thanks, man. And Ryan ruffled his hair, voice thick, keep swinging. Kid. Alone then. James cupped Ryan's face, thumbs tracing scars old and new. This isn't goodbye. Ryan's kiss was tender, lingering. It's see you later, promise. He drove into mist, taillights fading, leaving James hollow but alive, the spark he'd thought dead flickering warm. Weeks blurred, statements to badges, Eli's therapy sessions where he drew superheroes with green-eyed sidekicks. James worked double shifts, but nights, he stared at the ceiling, Ryan's scent ghosting the sheets. Then, a postcard, Yellowstone Vista, no return, missed the rain with you. Healing. Hope bloomed tentative, roots in cracked earth. Fall crept into Billings like a hesitant lover, leaves turning the bighorns gold and crimson, air crisp with wood smoke and the promise of snow. James threw himself into routine, coaching Eli's fall ball, wrenching late at the garage, forcing smiles at the diner where locals gossiped about that ruckus without prying too deep. But Ryan's absence was a bruise, tender under pressure, coloring every quiet moment. Eli adapted quick, kid resilience a wonder, but he'd linger at dinner, fork pushing peas. Think we'll see him again, Ryan? James would nod, throat tight. If the wind's right, buddy. The call came on a Friday, wind rattling the trailer like impatient fingers. Unknown number, but James knew, heart leaping before hello. Harper, Ryan's voice, roughened by miles, wrapped around him like flannel. Missed you. James gripped the counter. Eli at practice. House empty. Where are you? A pause. Static crackle. Seattle. New name. New gig, security consulting. Legit. Brothers in the wind. Feds cut a deal. Laughter. Bittersweet. Turns out flipping ledgers pays dividends. James exhaled, sinking to the floor. Eli asks. Every day. Ryan's breath hitched. Tell him. Tell him Uncle Ryan's got stories for next summer. They talked hours, voices weaving through phone lines like threads mending a tear. Ryan confessed the scar's full tale, not bar fight, but a lover's rage in '09, a closeted Marine who couldn't handle the truth. Broke me open, Ryan said soft. Made me run ever since. James shared his own ghosts. Tommy's goodbye note. I can't do this anymore, too small for us. Left on the kitchen table with Eli's ultrasound pic. Thought love meant bending. Turns out it means standing. Dawn pinked the windows when they hung up. I love you, slipping unbidden from James's lips. Ryan's echo a vow. Reunion brewed slow, deliberate. Ryan drove east in November, meeting James at a roadside motel off I-90. Neon buzzing vacancy like a heartbeat. James waited in the lot, breath fogging air, pickup idling warm for the escape. Ryan pulled up in a nondescript Subaru New Life. New wheels, stepping out leaner, scar faded under stubble, eyes lighting like homecoming. No words, just collision, arms crushing, mouths claiming in the gravel chill. Inside, room 7, they stripped barriers, clothes, fears, bodies urgent, reverent. Ryan's hands mapped James's back, fingers tracing spine like rivers on a map. Needed this, he groaned. James arching under him, gasps sinking to the headboard's rhythm. After, tangled in sheets, Ryan traced James's tattoos. Tell me about the anchor. James chuckled low. Navy kid, wild youth. Dropped out when Eli's mom bailed, said fatherhood wasn't her script. Ryan kissed his temple. Your best role. Eli met Ryan proper over Thanksgiving. James's trailer stuffed with turkey and tension. The boy hung back at first, bat in hand like a shield, but Ryan knelt, a level. Heard you crushed that scout tryout. Future star. Eli's guard cracked, grin flashing. Yeah, you play. Ryan confessed his little league flops, stories tumbling, and by pie, they were thick as thieves, plotting arcade raids. James watched from the kitchen, heart full. This, he thought, is the humanistic ache of it all. Love not just stolen glances, but woven into the everyday, messy and true. Winter clamped down, blizzards sealing them in domestic bliss. Ryan commuted from a rented cabin 10 miles out. Testing waters, he'd say with a wink, but his bag stayed packed, ghost of flight lingering. They built rituals. Friday bonfires in the backyard, Eli roasting marshmallows while James and Ryan shared beers, hands brushing covert. One night, snow muffling the world, Eli asleep early from Cocoa Crash. They slow danced in the living room to crackly radio, Springsteen crooning Thunder Road, arms locked loose. This real, James murmured into Ryan's neck, cologne woodsy and warm. Ryan pulled back. I serious. Real as us making it, but conflict simmered, betrayal's echo. Ryan's past clawed back in January. A letter forwarded from Seattle. Brother's handwriting. Scrawled threat, you testify. Family pays. Blood's thicker. Ryan burned it in the sink. Flames dancing wild. But James found the ash. Confronted him over dawn coffee. You said it was done. Ryan's face crumpled. Thought it was. He's cornered, lashing. James paced. Fury hot. Eli's not collateral. Ryan. Neither am I. The fight escalated. Words weapons. James accusing recklessness. Ryan defending survival. I left everything for this, for you, Ryan shouted, voice breaking. Can't you see? I'm terrified of losing it. Silence fell heavy. Snow tapping windows like accusations. James reached. Tentative. Fingers lacing Ryan's. Then don't run. Fight with me. Ryan nodded. Tears carving tracks. Promise. They made love fierce that morning. Reclaiming ground, bodies slamming claims. Whispers sealing pacts. But doubt lingered. A shadow in the light. Climax brewed in February. Valentine's shadowed by storm. Ryan planned a surprise, cabin getaway. Just them. Eli with Hargrove's grandkids. Candles flickered. Wine breathed. But as they dressed for dinner, Ryan's phone buzzed insistent. He glanced. Paled. Brother. Needs help one last time. James's gut twisted. No, but Ryan's eyes pleaded. It's extraction. Feds set it up. Safe. Lies. James smelled them, but love blinded. Go. But come back. He didn't. Hours stretched to agony. James pacing the cabin. Calls to void. Dawn brought news. Shootout in Spokane. Ryan caught in crossfire, brother double-crossed. Drive-through betrayal. Hospital in chaos. James racing west. Heart a freight train. He burst into ICU. Ryan pale under tubes. Scar stark white. James, he rasped. Hand weak but seeking. Sorry. James silenced him. Kiss feather soft. Hush. You're here. Eli arrived later. Flown by favor. Clutching bear from home. Don't die. Okay. Team needs you. Recovery was grueling. Months of physio. Ryan's leg shattered. Limp a reminder. Betrayal stung deep. Brother vanished. Cartel whispers, but it forged them stronger. James quit the garage. Took remote IT gigs, tech-savvy from Navy hacks, moving them to a bigger place on the river. Eli's room with a view. Ryan opened a security firm. Vetting locals. His testimony buried under deals. They married quiet in June. Backyard ceremony under pines. Eli best man with a grin wide as the sky. Vows exchanged. In storms and sun, Ryan said. Ring sliding home. James echoed. Forever fixed. But humanism's heart beats in the fractures. One night, post-dinner, Eli asked about moms and dads, piecing his own puzzle. You too. It's like a team. Ha! James nodded. Ryan's hand warm on his knee. Best kind. As stars wheeled. They lay entwined. Ryan whispering. Worth every scar. James believed him. The pull unbreakable. Love not flawless. But fierce. American as the open road. Summer scorched the plains. Heat waves shimmering off asphalt like fever dreams. But in their riverside rancher, bought with Ryan's settlement scraps and James's savings, the air hummed cool with ceiling fans and easy laughter. Eli turned 16 in July. Driver's permit burning a hole in his wallet. And Ryan played drill sergeant on the back 40, hollering corrections as the kid ground gears in the old Ford. Ease up. Killer, it's a truck. Not a Bronco. James watched from the porch, iced tea sweating in his grip, chest tight with a joy he'd once thought myth. This patchwork family, stitched from strangers and storms, held against the wind, yet undercurrents tugged. Ryan's limp worsened in humidity, phantom pains from the bullet that nicked femur, and therapy unearthed ghosts, nightmares of L.A. Allie's brother's voice snarling faggot before the fists flew. James woke to sweat-slick sheets, Ryan thrashing, murmurs of sorry, sorry. Mornings after, they'd make love slow, hands gentle, eyes locked, reaffirming the bond. You're safe. James would breathe against his throat. Ryan's response a hitch. With you? Yeah. But doubt whispered. Was it enough? Billings tolerated their pride flags on porches. But sideways glances at the grocery lingered. Small-town scripture on sin. Conflict crested in August. A heat lightning storm that cracked the sky like judgment. Ryan's firm landed a contract. Private security for a Casper casino. Whispers of cartel ties scrubbed clean by feds. Easy money, he said over burgers. But James's fork paused. Too close to the fire, Ryan waved it off. I'm the watchdog now, not the lamb. Eli, oblivious, chattered about school, crush on a teammate, first fumblings of identity that James navigated careful, heart aching with parallels. Just be you, kid. Rest follows. The betrayal slithered in subtle. Late nights. Ryan's phone silenced. Cologne sharper than usual. James smelled it first. Lies tang, mixed with fear. Confrontation brewed over Labor Day weekend. Eli at a sleepover, house echoing empty. Ryan stumbled in at 2 a.m. Tie askew, breath whiskey-tinged. Client dinner, he muttered. But James blocked the hall. Arms crossed. With who? The ghost of your brother. Ryan's eyes flashed. Drop it. But James didn't. Words erupted. Accusations flying. You're slipping back. For what? Quick cash. Adrenaline? Ryan shoved past, slamming the bedroom door. But James followed, voice cracking. I fixed your truck. Your life. Don't make me fix this alone. Silence stretched, broken by Ryan's sob raw, unbidden. He sank to the bed, head in hands. It's him. Brother called, needs out. One last favor. Offshore account. Clean slate. James knelt, fury ebbing to ache. And you said. Ryan looked up, tears carving clean lines. Yes. God help me. Betrayal twisted fresh, but deeper now, not strangers' desperation, but partners' fracture. Why? James whispered. Ryan cupped his face, thumbs rough. Love's blind. Harper. Family's worse. They clung then, storm raging outside, bodies seeking solace in rhythm. Urgent, forgiving, gasps mingling with thunder. Resolution dawned wet and resolute. Ryan called it off next day. Voice steel to brother's pleas. Done. Find your own road. Retribution came swift. A brick through the truck window. Traitor scrawled in red, but Ryan installed cams. James stood sentinel. Eli none the wiser. The incident bonded them tighter. Vulnerabilities glue. Fall brought harvest fairs. Eli's homecoming dance where he showed up with a boy on his arm, timid, sweet, and James and Ryan cheered from bleachers, hands clasped hidden. Our boy's braver than us, Ryan murmured. James squeezed. Nah. He's got good teachers. Climax hit in November. Anniversary shadowed by news. Brother's arrest. Headlines blaring, cartel kingpin falls in the Billings Gazette. Ryan stared at the clip, face ashen, cuffs clicking on familiar wrists, eyes hollow in court cam. Guilt crashed, wave after wave. He withdrew, limp dragging heavier, nights pacing the riverbank. James found him there one frostbitten eve, bundled in wool, staring at black water. He chose his path, James said soft, settling beside. Ryan shook his head. I enabled. Ran from the mess I helped make. James pulled him close, chin on shoulder. Then a tone. Here. With us. The turning came gradual. Ryan channeling pain into purpose, volunteering at the youth center, mentoring queer kids adrift like he'd been. Stories sanitized but true. Eli tagged along, bat swapped for basketball, finding his voice in group circles. James watched them bond, father-son blurring with something deeper, familial. Romance deepened 2 date nights in Bozeman, candlelit bistros where they held hands open, whispers turning bold. Marry me again? Ryan asked one starry night. Ring from his pocket, simple band, engraved fixed forever. James laughed, tears pricking. Thought we did. Ryan grinned. Renewal. Storms pass, but humanism demands shadows for light. Eli's coming out shattered the idle Christmas Eve, voice trembling over eggnog. Dad. Ryan. I'm gay. Like you. Silence. Then arms crushing. Proud. Ryan's eyes shone. Welcome to the club, champ. Rules are simple. Love loud, yet backlash bit. School whispers. A shove in the hall. Eli coming home bruised. Bat splintered. James fumed. Ryan cooled, filing complaints, talking resilience. World's rough, Ryan said, icing Eli's cheek. But you've got backup. The boy nodded, fierce. As winter thawed, they healed collective family therapy in Great Falls, where tears flowed freer than the Missouri. Ryan confronted his scars literal and not. James admitted fears of loss. Eli voiced the weight of legacy. Bonds reforged. They emerged tempered, unbreakable. Spring bloomed tentative, river ice cracking like old shells, and James caught Ryan watching him garden. Ice soft. What? Ryan smiled, pulling him down to dirt-kissed kiss. Grateful. For the fix that fixed me. Summer circled back. A year wiser. Heat tempered by rains that greened the Badlands lush. The rancher stood prouder now. Solar panels glinting on roof. Thanks to James's tech-side hustle. Ryan's firm thriving on ethical gigs. Bodyguard for touring bands. Vetting for nonprofits. Eli, 17 and lanky, captained the team. His boyfriend, quiet artist type named Theo, a fixture at barbecues, sketching the river while Ryan grilled steaks. Kids got talent, Ryan say, flipping burgers, pride paternal. James nodded, arms slung casual round waist. Like his uncle, laughter easy. Yet drama lingered, life's unscripted pulse. Ryan's past resurfaced in July, a subpoena dragging him to Denver, testimony addendum, brother's trial spilling tendrils. 2 days, he promised, kissing James hasty at the airport drop. But delays chained, cross-exams grilling his lifestyle, implications of weakness. Nights, hotel calls crackled tense. Ryan's voice frayed. They paint me villain. For loving you, James soothed. Truth's your shield. Eli texted memes. Theo drew caricatures, support net tight. Return brought storm. Ryan withdrawn, limp flaring from airport trek. Ice shadowed. Dinner that night. Eli chattering from plans, Theo blushing beside, but Ryan poked at his plate, fork listless. Bedtime. James confronted gentle. Talk, Ryan exhaled, unraveling. Brother's lawyer. Dug up my service record. Discharge. Don't ask, don't tell era. Said it proves I'm unstable. Betrayal not of blood but system. America's underbelly, where love's still suspect. James pulled him close. Heartbeat sink. Then we fight it. Together. The clash peaked in court adjournment. Ryan's affidavit challenged. Whispers leaking to tabloids. Mob witness in gay scandal. Billings buzzed, gossip at the pump, stares at the diner, but their circle held, Hargrove toting pies, youth center kids rallying with signs. Eli fumed online, viral thread on resilience going national, Theo's art auctioned for legal fund. Climax crested at hearing's end, judge dismissing claims, brothers glare impotent through glass. Victory tasted bittersweet, Ryan breaking in the hall, James holding him as sobs racked. Thought it'd break us, James kissed brow. Bends, doesn't shatter, healing wove through autumn, leaves carpeting paths like confetti. Ryan led workshops now, queer vets, sharing scars, mending others. James joined, voice steady on panels. Romance reignited playful. Stolen weekends in Yellowstone, hiking trails hand in hand, hot springs steaming under stars. One night, fog-shrouded, they made love on a blanket, bodies fluid as water, Ryan atop. Slow grind, James's hands in hair, gasps echoing pines. Love you, Ryan panted, release crashing shared. James held after, fingers tracing scar. Always, winter whispered change. Eli's acceptance to UW, Seattle bound, Theo trailing. Graduation teared up the gym, hugs crushing. Proud, kid, Ryan choked, James nodding mute. Empty nest loomed, but they filled it deliberate, renovating the cabin. Road trip south to New Mexico's Queer Arts Fest, where they danced under lanterns, bodies pressed to queer anthems. This life's ours, James murmured, Ryan's grin wolfish. Damn right, betrayal's final echo came spring. Anonymous letter postmarked Casper. Brother's plea from cell. Forgive, blood. Ryan burned at Riverside. No, he said firm. James at side. Our blood's here, humanism's grace. Not erasure, but choice letting go without hate. Ending unfolded gentle. Summer's end. Eli's room light on for last packing. Ryan's arm heavy round shoulders. Sunset bleeding the sky. Think we made it? James teased. Head on chest. Ryan chuckled. Kiss lingering. Fixed and running. Harper. Till the wheels fall off. Eli burst out. Duffel slung. Theo waving from truck. Group hug. Saps. Laughter rang. Arms entangling. Family forged in grease and grit. Love's quiet roar. Years blurred. Eli's wedding in Seattle. Rainbows and rings. Ryan's limp easing to swagger. James wrote memoir scraps. Trucks and truths. Self-pubbed for center kids. They aged graceful, silver threading hair. Lines etching smiles. Nights still tangled. Whispers undimmed. On anniversary 20th. Badlands Drive in the old Ford. Ryan pulled over at the mill ruin. Now a park plaque, sanctuary site. Remember? He asked. Hand warm. James nodded. Kiss salt sweet. Every mile. In the end, Not tragedy's knife, but time's soft fade. Ryan first. Heart giving under cancer's siege. Diagnosed late. Fought fierce. James at bedside. Eli and Theo vigil keeping. Stories looping like prayers. Worth it? Ryan rasped. Hand in James's. Eyes green still. All of it. He slipped quiet. Dawn breaking gold. Grief carved hollow. But humanism bloomed. James scattering ashes by the river. Eli's arm steady. New grandbaby kicking in Theo's swell. He'd love this, Eli said soft. James nodded. Wind carrying echoes. Alone but not. James fixed one last truck, Eli's heirloom, and drove the Badlands. Radio crooning Springsteen. Heart-scarred but full. He whispered to empty cab. See you later. Storm. The road stretched endless. American promise. Love's fix. Eternal.